Hi students, welcome to Alphos e-learning chemistry classes for first year. The running chapter is stoichiometry. In previous sessions, we discussed about the valency and the oxidation numbers. And valency is nothing but the combining capacity. As you know, the combining capacity, how we are considering that combining capacity? Combining capacity is nothing but the bonding capacity. And in bonding, how many electrons it is contributing for sharing? If the bonding is due to shared electrons, and how many electrons it can donate or it can accept if the bonding is because of the migration or transfer of the electrons. Clear? And that valency will never be fractional. That valency will never be negative. It is always whole number. Sometimes it may be 0. And when it is 0, in most of the cases 0 is possible when the molecules are monoatomic. The best example, well familiar example, let me give you, it is nothing but inert gases. In case of inert gases, they are not having any bonding with other elements, and thereby that means they are not sharing the electrons, they are not shifting the electrons. In such a case, their valency is said to be 0. Clear? But thereafter, because of this, that is nothing but because of all these operations, that means the sharing of electron or the shifting of electrons, some charges will be developed around the atom in the given compound. Such charges developed are developed due to the electron migration or due to unequal sharing of the electron. The probable charges developed are known as oxidation states. Again I am repeating, oxidation state is nothing but an ultimate result of the electron migrations or the unequal sharing of electrons. Because of this, some sort of charges will develop. That probable charges developed due to this is known as oxidation state. And how to find the oxidation state, and how to find oxidation state in ionic compound and in covalent compounds, just we discussed in previous session. And we also learned about the rules to find the oxidation number of the given element in the given compound. And in this class, before going for further details of the oxidation state, let us recollect, just let us have a briefing on the previous session rules which are framed for finding the oxidation number. Clear? And let us start with that one. The rules to find oxidation numbers. Already we know 4 rules. 4 rules are there. They are nothing but rule 1. Rule 1 is related to atoms in elemental state. Elemental state already we discussed, but let us, because it is a very important concept required to understand this oxidation number. Elemental state means an atom of an element is not combined with any other elemental atoms. With any other elemental atoms. Say for example, if the atom is combined with its own elemental atom, for example Cl2, O2, P4, S8, in all these cases the atoms of the same element of grouped together, bonded together. In such a case, that case or that state is known as elemental state, uncombined state. Here combination is there, but that combination is among the atoms of the same element. In such a case or state, we are considering it as elemental state. In such elemental state, oxidation number is taken as 0. Clear? And next, rule number 2. In this case, for monoatomic ions means in that ion only one atom is present, like Na plus, Cl minus, O minus 2, N minus 3, C minus 4, like that. Only one atom is present in the ion, that is atom with charge, is nothing but monoatomic ion. In such a case, oxidation number is equal to its charge. Already we discussed about this. Oxidation number is equal to its charge. And now rule number 3. In this case, for polyatomic ions. Polyatomic ions. Poly means many. Many atoms are present in that ion. Just you remember, ion is nothing but the charged species. In that charged species, if only one atom is present, it is monoatomic ion. If more than one atom present, then it is known as polyatomic ions. Clear? In case of polyatomic ions, the sum of oxidation numbers of all atoms is equal to its charge. It is one of the important rule which is of useful or which is of helpful in finding the oxidation states of unknown element in the given compound or in given chemical species. Clear? And next, one more rule, that is nothing but rule number 4. Here, for polyatomic molecules, these are nothing but heteroatomic molecules. Just you remember, polyatomic molecules means, poly means many atoms present in the molecule. Say for example, P4, 4 atoms present, it is polyatomic. And S8, it is also having 8 atoms in it, and thereby it is also polyatomic. But the difference is, in case if the same elemental atoms present in the molecule, then they are said to be homoatomic molecules. This elemental state is nothing but homoatomic molecules. Just you remember, homoatomic molecules means all the atoms present in the molecule are from the same element. O3 homoatomic, and P4 homoatomic, Cl2 homoatomic, O2 homoatomic. Clear? Like that. But here heteroatomic means atoms of different elements are in combination. In that molecule, not only one atom element, different elemental atoms are involved. In such a case, but still it is molecule, not the ion. Molecule means the net charge is 0. Clear? And thereby here, in case of polyatomic molecules, the sum of oxidation numbers of all atoms is equal to 0. In such a case, the sum is equal to 0. Already we learned all these 4 rules in previous session. For convenience sake, for making you to understand in a good manner, in a better manner, I am giving the briefing of those rules. Are you clear with this one, dear children? Now, let us move to the next one. In this session, when we are considering the rules, where rule number 3, where in case of polyatomic ions, the sum of oxidation states of all the atoms is equal to its charge, or in case of heteroatomic molecules, where the sum of oxidation states of all the atoms is equal to 0. In these two cases, actually, even though we are framing or we are studying in a rule, we are using that rules, these two rules, in a reverse manner. For example, for your convenience sake, let us discuss one ion, SO4 minus 2. What we discussed about this? If sulfur oxidation state is known, it is known. Let me give it. It is plus 6. And oxygen oxidation state is known. It is minus 2. And now, as per rule number 3, the sum of oxidation states, that is nothing but plus 6 plus minus 2. How many oxygen atoms? 4. Thereby into 4, that is nothing but 6 minus 8 is equal to minus 2. This what we learned as per rule number 3. But actually, in finding the oxidation states, we are using this rule in a reverse manner. What is that reverse manner? Let me explain with the same example. In case, for example, for time's sake, let us assume that the oxidation state of sulfur is not known to us. It is X. It is not known. We have to find the oxidation state of that sulfur in this given species. Then how to find? By using this rule. what we are using? The sum of, when it is not known, let us assume it is X. The oxidation state of sulfur is X in this compound or in this chemical species. So let us assume it is X. Then what we are using the rule? Already we know oxygen. That means, just you remember, my dear students, just you remember, to find the oxidation numbers of unknown elements, we should have an idea about the oxidation states of few elements at least. If you are having an idea about the oxidation states of few elements, then only you will able to find out the oxidation number of unknown element by using these rules. Say for example, in this case, sulfur unknown, but oxygen is known. In case if both are unknown, then there is no scope to find any oxidation state. Are you following? If it is also not known, then what to do? Nothing to do. Clear? That's why that means at least few elements oxidation states, that is in a given chemical species, except the required element. For the remaining atoms, the oxidation state, if we know, then only we can calculate the unknown element oxidation state. Make it a point. Clear? And now in this case, let me explain this one. In this case, it is assumed to be X and oxygen is -2. Well familiar, it is -2. And now what we are using is the sum of oxidation states of all the atoms in polyatomic ion is equal to its charge. That's why we are using this principle. It is assumed X plus -2 into 4 atoms present, and here X minus 8 is equal to its charge. That's why we are making, as per rule number 3, we are making this sum equal to its charge. And now from this, when we find X is equal to 8 minus 2, that is plus 6. What we assumed previously? Plus 6. It is known to me, but how I found it? In this manner. And now let us go for one more example. K2Cr2O7. Here we don't know about chromium. What is chromium oxidation state? That is the question. I think now you are getting the ideas. If it is asked, just you remember, you should know the oxidation states of the remaining two elements. That is for potassium and for oxygen. Then only you can find it. And one more thing here, my dear students, here one more thing what you have to remember is oxidation state or oxidation number is always per atom, not for group of atoms. We should always consider the probable charge on an atom in the given compound. On an atom in the given compound is oxidation state. Clear? So here two atoms present. We have to find the two atoms charge. Then the charge is distributed for the two. Clear? Or otherwise, how to solve this? Let us consider this chromium. We don't know. Let us assume chromium oxidation state X. And potassium being first group, its oxidation state is +1. And oxygen, as usual, we know -2. And now by using rule number 4, what is rule number 4? Just it is nothing but the sum of oxidation states of all the atoms present in the molecule is equal to 0. Clear? Again I am repeating, the sum of oxidation states of all the atoms present in the molecule is equal to 0. Here we are making that. Just it is K1 into how many potassium? 2 plus it is X. How many atoms of X oxidation state? 2 atoms. So 2 into X plus -2 into 7. Now this is equal to, what is it is equal to 0. This molecule is polyatomic molecule, it is not ion, that's why it is 0. And now let us consider it is 2 plus 2x minus 14 is equal to 0, or 2x is equal to 14 minus 2, that is 12. So when 2x is equal to 12, X is equal to 12 by 2, that is nothing but plus 6. Like that we can measure the oxidation state. If you observe in both these two cases, in case if it is elemental state of the atom, then directly we can consider it is oxidation state is equal to 0. If it is monoatomic ion, say for example aluminum ion is given Al plus 3, then what is oxidation state? Directly that plus 3 is its oxidation state. And in case if sulfur is given as S minus 2, then directly we can consider that minus 2 is nothing but the oxidation state. Clear? But in case of polyatomic ions, in case of polyatomic molecules, we have to calculate the oxidation states. In such a case, we are of using these two rules, and when we are using in both these two rules, we should have an idea about the oxidation states of the elements other than the selected or the given element. Is it not? And mostly the other elements which are present along with the unknown element are familiar elements. They are familiar, and mostly their oxidation state will be almost same in all cases. Almost all cases they maintain the same oxidation states. Clear? And now in this session what we are going to discuss is, already we are having the experience. Now with this experience we are of getting the idea, or we are of in such a situation that we should know the oxidation states of at least a few elements to find or to calculate the oxidation states of unknown element. Is it not? It is confirmed. And now we should know the oxidation states other than the required elements in general which are appearing frequently and how to get it. Clear? And now let me discuss about that point. Generally, oxidation states can be observed or can be known from group numbers. Group numbers means this group number is nothing but not from American model 1 to 18 groups. Just we have to follow the model that is nothing but AB subgroups, where we are considering all the groups into subgroups, A groups and B groups. B groups are nothing but related to transition elements and inner transition elements, that is nothing but D block and F block. But A subgroups are related to S block and P block. As we know, it is nothing but well familiar to you also from your lower classes, because you already completed the study of periodic table in 10th class and 9th class, I think so. Clear? And even in 11th class, that is nothing but junior inter also, you are going to learn about the details of the periodic table. But for your convenience sake, here I am providing the groups and that group elements for your convenience. Actually you should have idea and you should learn from periodic table, but when I am explaining you should not get any confusion. That's why I am giving the groups. Here what we require is nothing but first A group, second A group, and then here some B groups will present, and thereafter it will continue with third A, fourth A and fifth A, and then sixth A, and then seventh A, and then zero group. Zero group is nothing but inert gases. Clear? And here let me give, this is lithium, sodium, actually hydrogen is also there. Let me give that one also. Hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, that's one. Francium is radioactive, we need not go for that. And here beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium, but we need not go for that. And now coming to third A group, it is boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium, and these are fourth A group: carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead, plumbum, stannum. And fifth A group: nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, arsenic is AS, antimony, stibbium, SB, bismuth, Bi. And sixth A group, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. And seventh A group, here hydrogen again appears, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine. We need not go for this, and it is polonium PO. And zero group, it is nothing but helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, like that. These are the elements. You should have idea about these elements. Why? Because we are going to assume the oxidation states with respect to these groups. With respect to these groups, we are going to assume the oxidation states. Clear? And now let me give the highlighted points, that is nothing but salient features to find the oxidation numbers from groups. Clear? And first one, here it is, if group number less than 3 or equal to 3, less than or equal to 3, or simply we can say that if it is group number is less than 4, less than 4 means up to 3. Clear? And now in such a case, the elements exhibit only one type of oxidation number, that is equal to group number. Are you following this rule? In case if the group number is less than 4, in such a case all the elements are assumed to be of exhibiting only one kind of oxidation state. That means they always exhibit the same oxidation state, invariable to these compounds. Actually what we are studying, when the oxidation state of an element is asked, what we are considering, that elemental oxidation state will be different in different compounds. But in case of these groups, that is nothing but which are having group number less than 4, will have the oxidation number only one kind. They are invariable, and that is equal to group number. That means for first A group, the oxidation number is equal to +1. Second A group elements oxidation number is +2, and third A group oxidation number is +3. Exception cases we will study later. Clear? And this is about group number less than 4. And next one is, if group number is greater than or equal to 4. This is second condition, is very important. If the group number is greater than or equal to 4, here elements exhibit variable oxidation state. Here they exhibit invariable oxidation state, that is only one kind. Variable means more than one kind. Clear? They may exhibit other than one kind of oxidation state. Say for example, here I am going to explain. For example, here elements exhibit variable oxidation numbers. In these cases, that is nothing but when group number is greater than 4, which are supposed to exhibit variable oxidation states, they are having some sort of limitations. Within that limitation they may exhibit different, and now that limitation we have to find. That is nothing but the minimum and the maximum. Clear? And now here in this case, the minimum oxidation state, minimum oxidation number is equal to group number minus 8. This will provide along with the sign you will get the oxidation state. Clear? And B, the minimum is group number -8. The maximum oxidation number is equal to group number. In case of the elements which are having the group number greater than or equal to 4, they exhibit variable oxidation state. Variable means other than one kind, not only one, so many kinds of oxidation states. Clear? They may exhibit positive, negative, fractional, like that. But they are having, each group is having its own limitation in exhibiting the oxidation numbers. What are the limitations? Just you observe. The minimum oxidation number of any group element is nothing but the group number -8. For example, here let us consider 4 groups. That is, 4th A group is there, and 5th A group is there, 6th A group, 7th A group is there. In all these cases, what is happening? Let us assume group number -8. This is 4th A group. 4. Group number is 4 -8. What will be? 4 minus 8 is -4. And in case if it is 5th A group, group number is 5. 5 minus 8, -3. In case if it is 6th A group, group number -8, 6 minus 8, -2. In case of 7th A group, group number 7, 7 minus 8, -1. For the respective groups, these are the minimum oxidation states. Are you following? And now coming to maximum oxidation numbers. Maximum oxidation number for 4th A group will be +4. It is +4. And 5th A group it will be +5. For 6th A group +6. For 7th A group +7. Like that, the minimum and maximum. In 0 group elements, actually 0 group is nothing but its oxidation states are valency. Unless otherwise they are participating in chemical reactions, their oxidation states or their valencies are taken as 0. That's why they are also known as inert gases, or they are also known as inert gases are also known as 0 valent elements. 0 valent means their valency is 0. Clear? Like this, the minimum and maximum oxidation states we can assume from the group number. These are nothing but the outlines. That is, from the group number, once we are getting the element and once we are having the idea about its group number, then automatically we can create or we can frame some limitation in its oxidation states. Say for example, if it is 5th A group, is it possible for a 5th A group to have less than -3? That is, if nitrogen is given -4, is it acceptable? No, because nitrogen is 5th A group and its minimum oxidation state is -3. 8 minus 8, that is 5 minus 8, -3. Less than -3 not possible. And in case if for nitrogen, if they assume +7 oxidation state, is it possible? No. Why? Because nitrogen is 5th A group and thereby its maximum oxidation state should not exceed it group number 5. Clear? Like that, we are of assuming the oxidation state limitation from the group numbers. It is general outline. And now if we are going for exception cases, first let me give the very important and most frequently what we are getting in compounds, that exception cases. Let me provide this. In these 3 cases, that is nothing but, now let us go for 7th A group. This minimum oxidation, this fluorine in 7th A group, here I am writing, this is 7th A group, fluorine. It is exhibiting minimum oxidation state but not maximum oxidation state. Again I am repeating, in 7th A group, fluorine exhibits minimum oxidation state -1, but its maximum oxidation state is not +7. It never exhibits. That is the exception for fluorine. And in case of oxygen, minimum oxidation state is -2, but it is also not exhibiting maximum oxidation state of +6. Its maximum oxidation state is +2 only. Clear? So for oxygen, -2, +2. and for fluorine -1. There is no plus oxidation state for fluorine, you remember. And now in case of nitrogen, nitrogen exhibit -3 and +5 oxidation states. This is possible for this nitrogen. +5 oxidation state is possible, -3 oxidation state is possible. Clear? And now why these two, that is nothing but fluorine and oxygen, fail to exhibit the maximum oxidation state? If they ask the question, just you remember, it is nothing but because of the absence of d orbital in their outermost orbit. Again I am repeating, why oxygen and fluorine, these two elements fail to exhibit maximum oxidation state is because of the absence of vacant d orbital or absence of d orbitals in their outermost orbit. Clear? And now let us go for this fifth, that is nothing but fourth A group. Fourth A group, generally they exhibit -4 minimum oxidation state. Mostly carbon can exhibit, other elements are not supposed to exhibit minus oxidation states because they are not interested to take the electrons. Clear? And maximum oxidation state is assumed to be +4. But the last element of lead, that is fourth A group, lead, -4 is not possible. Here +2 +4, of these two, +2 is stable. Okay, all these discussions again we will have in our regular classes or in coming chapters also. Thereby just you remember, in last element lead, +2 is more stable. In bismuth actually +5 is more the maximum oxidation state, but most of the cases it is exhibiting +3 only. And thallium, it is of having +3 because it is third A group, but it is exhibiting +1 oxidation state. That is, the maximum is not stable in the last elements of the groups. Again I am repeating, the highest or the maximum oxidation state in respective groups. Here what we studied, third A, fourth A and fifth A group, we are observing less than the maximum oxidation state, more stable in these last elements of the group. Clear? And now the reason is nothing but, thereafter I think you might heard about that word, that is nothing but it is because of inert pair effect. Just you remember this word. I will explain all these in coming chapters. Why the last elements exhibit less oxidation state than expected? It is nothing but because of inert pair effect. Clear? And now oxygen, generally oxygen is exhibiting -2 maximum and +2 minimum, and actually in between these two oxygen can exhibit -0.5, -1, +1 also, all like that. Boron can sometimes exhibit not only +3, that is one more exception case here. Boron actually third A group should exhibit +3, but instead of +3 it is exhibiting -3. It is also an exceptional case. Clear? All these exception cases, why they are exempted from that rules, all we will discuss in coming chapters. You need not worry. Just here as an information you should remember and you should keep in your mind when these elements are appearing, that is nothing but oxygen, fluorine and oxygen, fluorine, nitrogen or boron, like that elements when appear, just you have to imagine that those are having some exceptions in exhibiting the maximum oxidation states. Clear? And now in the coming session some more examples after getting all these ideas. This is the general idea. If I am explaining the remaining also, they may get overlap. That's why I am stopping here. Actually, if you are thorough with this one, by next session if you are thorough with this one, definitely you will get thorough idea about this one, because we are going to discuss so many exception cases, so many imaginations, so many assumptions in finding the oxidation states. And after getting all these informations, we will start to calculate the oxidation states in different chemical species provided to us. With all that, after this we will go for the redox reactions and how they happen and what is happening in the redox reactions. all we will discuss in the coming sessions. Clear? Okay.